Well, I like their chances a lot. I mean, they're obviously favored in the game. They have so many dynamic playmakers on offense, from J.T. Barrett to Curtis Samuel to Mike Weber. On defense, they have just an unbelievable player in Malik Hooker. He has I believe he has it's like 6 interceptions, 3 of which have been returned for touchdowns, and he's just spearheaded that defense in terms of like the ability to force turnovers from the opposing team. And as a whole, they have 7 total interceptions returned for touchdowns, which leads college football. So they definitely have the guys on that side of the ball to kind of give Deshaun Watson a lot of trouble. But either way, it's going to be a really fun game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out.
So we know that they've got the coach that's considered arguably the best, along with Nick Saban. We know that they've got the quarterback in J.T. Barrett that has as much experience, big game experience, as most across the country, and has accomplished so much in the Big Ten, the all-time touchdown leader, breaking Drew Brees' record this year. Elite athletes all over the place, 4- and 5-star guys that probably haven't quite hit their stride. That may come next year, surprisingly, that Ohio State really has this group of players on its roster at its peak in terms of its college play. But the two concerning points of this Ohio State season that we've seen repeated a number of times, John, is wide receiver play that can't blow the top off of a defense, get downfield. Devin Smith, obviously key in that run 2 years ago in defeating Wisconsin, Alabama, and Oregon, that really just made big play after big play. And the offensive line, for me, has been spotty. We didn't know that Penn State was that good when they went to Happy Valley, and that Penn State defensive line that lost all that NFL talent last year just wreaked havoc. Michigan did until the last 2 drives of the game. That Ohio State offense didn't show a pulse, but they've played well when they've needed to, but the offensive line issues as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest issue coming into this season was just the lack of experience. Just so many guys left for the NFL. You had that bumper crop of NFL draft guys, from Ezekiel Elliott to Taylor Decker. I mean, the list goes on and on. And Ohio State returning just 3 starters on both sides of the ball. And like you said, just a lack of depth in the receiving core. You look at really, I mean, the only 2 guys that provided a lot of yardage and just overall production in the receiving core was Curtis Samuel, who's really more of a hybrid back, and he obviously did a lot in the running game too. I mean, he had 847 rush yards in addition to he had about 1,500 yards total in terms of rushing and passing yards, and then you had Noah Brown. But beyond that, it was a pretty big drop off. You have Dontre Wilson, who maybe was expecting a little bit more out of him, and then KJ Hill, Terry McLaurin, and then on the offensive line, really the only guy that really stood out was Pat Elflein, and he ended up winning the offensive lineman of the year in the Big Ten. But other than that, yeah, there were big issues all around in terms of being able to keep J.T. Barrett upright. They had 25 sacks allowed, which is 59th in FBS. And this could be an issue because, you have a Clemson team that is second nationally in sacks, 46 sacks overall. So Ohio State's offensive line is going to really have their hands full in terms of being able to keep J.T. Barrett upright in this game. But that said, Barrett does, he's a very talented quarterback. He's in terms of just being that dual threat guy that can take the ball and run when he needs to. And though, a lot of people say when you hear dual threat, you think, oh, he can just run the ball, but he's not exactly, the best thrower. But I think with J.T. Barrett and with Deshaun Watson, both of these guys are really good throwing the football in addition to taking it and running if they have to.
John Bava joins us from Last Word on Sports. The folks over there, great to us. Don King, Mike Laval. We've got a lot of friends over there from Last Word on Sports that join us here on Mark Rogers TV on a regular basis. John here for the first time. John, you got to let us know what you're up to these days. What have you written? What do we need to look out for?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, it encompasses not just college football, but I'm the managing editor of Last Word on Pro Football and then Last Word on Soccer. But with college football, I write a weekly column now where we do. It's basically like a pick'em thing where we do a little bit of analysis on like 5 really marquee games on a weekly basis, and then we kind of give predictions. So, I'm going to be continuing to be doing that as we get into the bowl season. We have 41 bowl games in total, so there's going to be a lot of content. So, on a weekly basis, we'll have a pick'em article for the first few bowls, and then it'll basically be over the 3 weeks that the bowl season takes place. And then we'll also be, we'll just basically be having previews for all 40 bowls. I'll be contributing to that, and we got plenty of content coming out, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. This is the most wonderful time of the year in more ways than one, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
No question about it. John, if you're anything like me, you're bragging about that prediction record. Some weeks, other weeks, you don't want anyone to ask.
Yep.
All right, John Bava joins us from Last Word on Sports, breaking down the big semifinal matchup, Clemson and Ohio State. John, we appreciate the time.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me on.